It's my turn to read. I'm the narrator in this one.
Oh no.
It was a winter's day 8 years prior when it happened. That solemn morning where she understood the value of life for the very first time. Her home was nestled on the side of a mountain. Around it was nothing but inhospitable wilderness. She had no neighbors or childhood friends to speak of. Things like traveling to school or playing outside were more trouble than they ought to be. Indeed, with its pure water and bright stars, it was a place rich with memories both frustrating and halcyon. That was only during summer, though. Winters in those mountains were extremely frigid, each morning more severe than the last. Her father would drive her to the train station after waiting 10 minutes for the engine to warm up and the iced-over windows to clear.
Mind starting up the car for me?
Her father would savor his morning coffee, leaving her to venture outside and rev the engine. Out the front door she would go, traversing the garden with icy breath until she reached the old sedan. As always, she inserted the key, then started the ignition. The engine rumbled to life. Then it explodes. Just as she proudly finished the humble task she'd done so many times before. A shrill scream pierced the air. She knew, even though it wasn't human, that the feeble sound was a cry of agony. A few moments passed. Her father came out and opened the hood of the car. Creaking fan belts. A monstrous-looking engine. And something that didn't belong. It was a cat, a mother by the looks of it, and her 2 kittens. The 3 cats had been huddled for warmth in the engine compartment. The mother cat was missing its head. One of the kittens had been mangled beyond all recognition by the engine belts, and surely died instantly. The other kitten, its face half covered in blood, panted faintly. It desperately clung to its mother, or rather, the chunk of meat that was its mother, with the last bit of life it could muster.
Poor things.
Her father lamented their plight. The previous night had been especially cold. After he had returned home yesterday, the cats must have snuck under the hood, drawn by the warmth of the engine. They had slept next to the engine and awoke to a storm of spinning belts. Cars in the 80s were not sealed particularly well, so this was not unheard of.
It's okay. It wasn't your fault.
Her father's voice seemed distant. She could only make out a small tuft of the kitten's gray fur. The rest of it was caked in the blood of its mother and brother. I can see its skull. The fragile life of a speckled kitten. Trembling and positively blind, it continued to nuzzle against its dead mother's chest.
Wait!
She took the kitten into her arms and ran deep into the mountains to her grandfather's house. Was it because she was overcome with regret? Or was it the shock of grief? Years later, she still wasn't sure. Fighting back the welling tears, she burst into her grandfather's workshop. Her grandfather was a magician who could do anything. She had never seen magic. She knew that magic was a fantasy straight out of fairy tales, but so was her grandfather. She had to find him. He was the only one who could help.
I suppose you want me to alter this kitten's fate.
The cave-dwelling magician said indifferently. This kitten needs our help, she pleaded. Whether it was a simple task or a Herculean labor, her grandfather would not say. He simply granted the girl's childish wish like a machine. Oh no, the girl said. Before she knew it, however, she was holding a tiny corpse in her hands. Its fur was cold. The warmth of life had left its body, and the tears she had fought so hard to hold back poured from her eyes. Regret spread through her chest like an endless gray sky.
We were too late. Some things cannot be undone.
Her mind struggled to come to grips with what had just occurred. The last 10 minutes were a total blank. Who she met, what she had known, it was all as if it never happened. The only thing she was sure of was that life, once extinguished, can never return. Is somebody there? That day, it was her mistake that gave birth to me. Indeed. Whatever occurred that day, it was a day of nostalgia and longing. This is the fairy tale of 8 years ago. The day they first met, that no magic could ever bring back. Sorry, drinking. Arrogant, greedy, and able only to destroy, I must be a wolf. I don't have regrets. There's no looking back. If my pride had left you behind, my sincere condolences. But at any rate, I suppose it's my fate to die at the hands of Little Red Riding Hood. One strange one. Once upon a time, there was a man who died. That's kind of the voice I'm giving this.
Right.
It's just the name.
Well, welcome to Witch on the Holy Night, everyone.
This is clearly.
I am Keith the Dinosaur Boy. With me here is BuzzleBee.
Hello! I'll be the narrator for most of this game. That's my job. Can you imagine if that whole first part was a dude?
Oh, God.
Because it said that she gave birth to me, so I don't think that was told through the guise of our main girl.
Probably not. Maybe?
Can you... Maybe it's the spirit of the cat turned into a human that's now going to come and murder her.
Oh, great.
Because, you know, this is Type Moon, and they could do that. We saw what they did in Tsukihime.
Like, that just happens.
It's just weird.
Shit just
Whatever.
happens. Shit just happens, honestly.
I love Type Moon.
Oh, thank you, Frank. What an opening. First melting dogs, now melting cats. Damn it, Drosselmeyer. I am Drosselmeyer. That's me.
There she is, female Drosselmeyer.
It was a quiet morning. Hold on. From her bed, she could see the sky was ashen, watercolor gray. The thermometer displayed 43 degrees Fahrenheit, a rather unforgiving temperature for November. Her stomach woke her up with a growl, pathetically reminding her that she had completely missed breakfast. But lazy mornings like today were, for her, a blessing. Oh, thank you, Throat, for making such a delicate noise. It was already well past 8 in the morning. On any ordinary weekday, tardiness would be unavoidable, but today, classes were cancelled in commemoration of the school's anniversary. Gratefully, she had every intention of taking it easy for the first time in ages. Outside the window was a gloomy gray, and it reminded her more of evening than morning. It wasn't a pleasant morning by any stretch of the imagination. But having been up all night until just 3 hours ago, she couldn't care less about the weather outside. Wow, sleeping for 3 hours. All she cared about was more sleep. As long as she could spend her mornings in bed, what was happening outside was no concern to her. Except suddenly there's vampires outside.
Oh God!
She shut the curtains. Then closes her eyes and tried to let sleep reclaim her. I've been there. Drinking. I'd like a nice, uneventful dream for 2 hours, thank you. Blissful slumber found her soon enough. Her consciousness faded. However, her simple request would be mercilessly refused. A faint but shrill sound lingered in her ears. It was the unmistakable ring of a telephone. Much to her chagrin, out of habit, her eyes popped open. Oh, come on. Why today of all days? The telephone was situated in the foyer on the first floor. Answering it meant walking down a 30-foot corridor and going down a flight of stairs. In her sleep-deprived state, the distance seemed somewhat between incredibly far and astronomically far. The phone's incessant ringing continued. She knew the caller would eventually give up if she ignored it, but she chose to fight the urge. Oh. Why doesn't Alice answer it? She thought her housemate would get it, but she soon had to abandon all hope. The realization struck her that her housemate did not have the day off from school and was likely in class at her prestigious little hilltop academy. The caller proved incredibly persistent. That persistence made the volume of the ringing seem even louder. I'm trying to sleep here. She pulls out a knife.
No.
Stabs the phone.
Oh god. Yep, right in the point of
Lifeline
death.
starts
Right in
playing.
the
Yeah, Lifeline starts playing. She was left with no choice but to get up, throw a top on, and leave the room. Oh my god, my foot's asleep. God, it's cold. She rubbed her hands together to warm her numb fingers. I feel that. I'm wrapped around in a blanket right now.
What a mood.
My little bee blanket. The mansion's heating system, it was inadequate, to say the least. Why does everyone in Type Moon live in a fucking mansion? They don't even use all the rooms.
Yeah. Let's see, Shiki lives in a mansion.
Well, Shiki lives in a mansion. This girl lives in a mansion. Rin lives in a mansion. Technically speaking, Shiro lives in a tiny mansion.
A tiny mansion. Yeah, I guess so.
Because it isn't, I would not say that his house is a regular sized house. It's like between a mansion and a house.
Kind of big.
It's a big house.
Like,
But it's not a mansion.
he does need to work to maintain it, but like, still.
Like, and also, like, other people can live there. There are, like, so many rooms in that house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's not a house. That's a mini mansion. So everyone lives in a goddamn mansion, and we never see, like, all the rooms. They're just like, ah, yes, we have multiple guest rooms, so that way we can have sexual tension.
Yep.
That's what it is. They're sexual tension houses. That's what mansions are. Mansions are sexual tension houses.
Love that.
Quote. Please put that in the quote box.
Mansions
Or
are
I'll do it.
sexual.
I'll put it in the quote box really quick. Actually, can you do it?
Yeah.
Because I'm reading. Which meant that winter was the very worst of uninvited guests.
Mansions.
Not winter.
Mansions are sexual tension boxes.
Boxes. They're sexual tension boxes. That's what they are.
All right.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Never more so than on a dreary morning as this, when one didn't need to use a thermometer to know how cold it was.
Is it raining
Yeah,
or is it like hailing?
I don't think it's either. I think it's just cold. Like how it is out, like where I live right now, there's just like snow on the floor, or not on the floor, but on the ground, and it is like freezing. Like the wind chill is so bad, but there's like no snow dropping.
Fair enough. Because it does kind of look like it's raining, and it kind of sounds
Actually,
like it,
yeah.
right?
You know what? Now that I listen closer, yeah, you're right. Interesante.
Interessante. 43 degrees. I'm guessing that's fair.
That's not freezing point, and they did say Fahrenheit, but that's not freezing.
Yeah,
point.
that's not freezing point. So it is.
So if
It's just cold
so
and raining.
It would have to be rain if it was anything, because it would. If they try and tell us that it's fucking snowing at 43 degrees Fahrenheit, I'm gonna call bullshit. Type Moon, get your fucking shit together. Never more so than on a dreary morning like this, when one didn't need a thermometer to know how cold it was outside. The mansion sat in the mountains and was surrounded by dense forest. Winter always arrived here first, before moving on to nearby towns. Because we live very up high, and that's how altitude works.
Of course.
The robotic ring of the telephone reverberated throughout the long hallway. The mansion's furnishings had been so perfectly maintained that it made the place feel unlived in. It seemed lonelier than it did splendid. Coupled with the dreary morning, it could have passed for a haunted house. I do have a question.
Mhm.
Is this This is the official dub that they put out.
This is indeed the official one.
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
No, just some of the way that they put phrasing wise. I don't like it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just some of the sentences feel weird, and they just like make my mouth feel awkward when I say them.
That's fair.
It's not bad, and I'm happy to have it on our totally legit hardware.
Yes.
But sometimes it makes my mouth feel gross.
Fair enough. I mean, compared to this to the fan translation of Tsukihime.
Oh, Tsukihime is so much better.
Really? Okay.
So much. I understood, like, I mean, sure, but it's Shiki. Shiki was using so many fucking big words, but, like, I felt that every sentence made sense. Like, I don't think once in the entire playthrough where we were like, huh, that's a funny sentence.
Fair enough.
Like, I don't think once we ever said that, but right now, like the sentence, it seemed lonelier than it did splendid, it feels weird. Like, I understand it, and the sentence makes sense, but saying it sounds weird.
That's fair. I
If that makes
guess it is a really weird quirk of, like, Nasu's writing in,
I mean, that's fine.
that a lot of, like, sentences when you read them, it feels weird, but, like, that it makes sense, but it feels weird, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, whatever.
I mean, that's just something that I noticed, and I wanted others to know that I noticed it.
Fair enough.
So, anyways.
Of course.
back into Drosselmeyer, narrator, Princess Tutu.
Yes.
Never mind.
Oh.
Well, it is a haunted house, I suppose. I guess this is the voice I'm giving her.
Mhm.
It's too large for just the two of us.
Yeah. I mean, you can change it once we see our main character, so.
I know. I don't know what the vibe she has yet.
Yeah. I'm guessing this is Aoko, but...
I'm guessing, but we don't know, because we don't know what she looks like.
Right.
I mean, we know what Aoko looks like, but we don't know what the person wandering this house is. She could get murdered.
Fair enough.
We could be playing a murdered person now. That's happened before.
That has happened once before. At least once.
I'm sure there are plenty of games. Have you ever seen The Last of Us? People die in, like, the first, like, couple minutes of that game.
Yep, just like the main character of the first game dies in the first, like, 20 minutes of the second.
It's so good. Cries. She counted more than 30 rings since it first began. So that means that the phone stopped ringing and they just continued to hit recall.
Persistent
Like, they just
caller.
kept recalling.
And I believe this takes place in the 80s?
Yes. Well, at least that's what they said about 80 sedans.
80s sedans. So maybe 90s.
This is probably... Yeah, it would probably be the 90s if the remake... Because this is the remake of the original game, right? So if the remake of Tsukihime takes around the time of fucking Happy by Pharrell being at the top of the charts, which is still so funny to me. Can you imagine Shiki, like... No, Arcwide. Arcwide would be all over Happy by Pharrell. And you can't tell me otherwise.
Absolutely.
She'd be all over that shit. But if that takes place in 2014, that would make sense for this to take place around the 90s. Mm-hmm. That way she'd be, the young adult that she is, even though, she's magical and doesn't age and blah, 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 but it's fine.
Yeah, she still looks like early 20s in Tsukihime. But, she's yeah?
Frank just responded to the quote and just said, "Is that why there's an Akiha route?"
Oh my god.
Thanks.
Alright, we're continuing this.
I'm so sorry.
All good.
I counted 30 rings. I read that.
Very persistent caller.
Yes. The caller either had a lot of free time on their hands or had a good understanding of the house's circumstances. She had a strong hunch that it was the latter.
What if it's her roommate?
Being like, I'm being kidnapped. The window above looked out onto the gloomy sky. She hastened to catch the... Hold on. Alright, jaw cracked, we're good. She hastened to catch the unrelenting ring in the act as soon as possible. Though she had a feeling that her happy morning might come to a close the moment she caught it. It was here that a series of incidents begun. Apologies for the lack of romance to this tale. For whether it be objectively true or merely supposition?
Yeah.
Supposition. It is always from gloomy and unassuming beginnings that extraordinary events are set into motion. Because once upon a time, there was a man who died.
Oh my god.
I love that that's like, I love that Princess Tutu meme of just, once upon a time, there was a man who died. Ah, we are Arihiko. Ugh, my nose is so stuffy. Look at us. We're so cute. I guess I'll have to do a cover of this opener too. I'll just do an opener of every every type moon game we do.
So for Fate's Day Night, would you do Brave Shine or the opening in the...
I want to do Stardust. Last Stardust.
Fair enough.
I want to do it really bad, but I mean, I haven't listened to Brave Shine enough, because Last Stardust is in one of my playlists that I listen to a lot. But if I listen to Brave Shine enough, I probably could get a good handle on it, and I could probably do it.
Fair enough.
That's really what it is. I need to have the passion to do it, and I need to know the lyrics enough before I go into it.
Oh, for sure.
Did you ever watch the short with the red and the blue umbrellas? It was an animated short, and the two umbrellas were like in love.
No, I do not believe so.
Oh, it was such a cute, like, little... I think it was a Pixar short. I forget what movie it was in front of, but I was like... I remember I was probably about 16 when the movie itself, whatever short was in front of it, came out. When that short was in front of it. Because we used the music from it as an acting exercise in a acting camp that I was in.
I don't think this has lyrics. I don't think you need to do a cover. Unfortunately.
You don't know. There could be another song in it that actually has lyrics. Also, I could just put lyrics to it. I could make shit up.
Hey, fair enough.
I'm good at that. I'm good at making shit up.
We haven't seen our protagonist's face yet. We've only seen her hair and her little schoolgirl outfit.
To be fair, we didn't see Shiki's face for a while.
True.
And when we did see his face, he was a little baby.
Actual child.
An actual baby. Oh my god, speaking of baby, there was someone who came into my job today. It was a family, and one of the girls, I thought it was a real baby. like walking up to the table, I thought there was a legitimate baby sitting on the table. It was a doll.
Wow.
Like a plastic baby. And it was terrifying. Like, it looked legitimately real.
Wow.
I was shooketh.
For sure.
And he was Witch on the Holy Night.
Yes, welcome to Witch on the Holy Night.
No, I'm not gonna say that. Never mind.
What?
I was gonna say something and I'm not gonna say it anymore. I'm good.
Okay.
I just hope that there's a character that's nicknamed the Holy Knight. Anyways, the rain had subsided somewhat by the time she reached the school gate. I thought we weren't going to school. Wait, are we the roommate?
Maybe.
No, wait, are we? I don't know. Why are we going to school? I thought we had the day off.
Maybe her housemate called and she needed to go.
We need to pick her up or something.
Yeah, I guess so.
I guess.
Whatever.
I don't know. Maybe they'll explain it.
Yeah.
The sunlight seemed to be playing a peekaboo behind the clouds in the distance. It looked like it might be cleared up by early afternoon. Not that it has anything to do with me, though. The weather reflected her luck. On top of being forced out of the house at such an early hour, she had to suffer through a winter rain. I'm getting a bad feeling about this. The sinking feeling she had only grew as she passed through the entrance and headed inside. She didn't encounter any other students along the way. Nor did she see anyone taking part in club activities either. Probably because no one was supposed to fucking be at school.
Yeah.
The reception desk to the faculty room simply read, "Faculty closed." The school had given all of its students the day off. And yet, here we are. Except those explicitly summoned, like her.
Oh, God. The school board called her.
Why are we... My thing is, why is this in third person?
Yeah, I was gonna to comment on that at some point. It is very weird that it's in third person now.
Well, because, like, is this, like, the weird thing that we summoned when we were, like, a youngin'?
I don't think so.
And that's just, like, following us? Is that what this is supposed to be?
Weird.
Because it said that, like, and she summoned me, and then it's been in third person the entire time.
Right. Interesting.
As if it's a little camera following us.
Weird. It is definitely a little jarring to jump from
first person
to jump from Tsukihime, which is in first person from Shiki's perspective the entire way through. Not to mention Fate's Stay Night, which is also in first person, but like we still haven't gotten to it, but like, you know.
We'll get to it.
It is from...
We're doing the prequel to Tsukihime first, technically, kind of.
It is, yeah, the direct prequel.
Yeah.
Basically. Whatever. All right.
Fine.
All right. Well, when does it get to the part where she gives Shiki funny glasses?
That's gonna be 48 hours from now, Keith. You should know the math by now.
Okay.
It's gonna take us like 3 weeks to get that, though.
Something like that.
And then I'm gonna have videos until well into like
June.
That's what I was gonna say. A fact that irked her more and more as the minutes passed.
And then you can have like a whole playlist to promote on Shiro Day.
Exactly. I can have a whole thing, and then I can do something funny on Shiro Day. I don't know what it would be. I'll have to think of ideas.
Hey, I'm free.
Exactly. I might actually draw something, and then we can dub it. Maybe, if I have, like, the energy. Or if anyone has ideas, obviously. Well, when this comes up, people can put ideas in the comments.
Yes.
But because I don't know what I'm doing, ever.
For sure. What a mood.
She opened the door to the faculty room and headed towards the desk she had visited a number of times before. The man at the desk wore a plain shirt and suit that were nonetheless neatly pressed. Slim-framed glasses adorned his face, giving off an amicable yet cunning air. We're gonna murder this man. The mild-mannered image this mid-20s man presented clashed with the cigarette he smoked. He didn't appear to have noticed her yet.
Yamashiro sensei.
Mr. Yamashiro? She closed the door with a bang.
Dang.
Hold on, a bang. There we go.
Good.
Showing no response to the sudden sound, Mr. Yamashiro lifted his head.
Hey there. Good morning, Miss Aozaki. I guess this means you got the call.
Yes, they called me at home about an hour ago, out of the blue.
Well, you're suspended.
Oh, fuck off! What did I do? Having graduated from this high school himself, Mr. Yamashiro was not much older than the rest of the students. For that reason, the students preferred him over the other teachers, probably because every girl thought he was hot and every boy thought he was a rival.
I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe the boys also thought he was hot.
Well, no, I'm sure that some of the boys thought he was hot, but also some of them definitely were like, he's too pretty, fuck that bitch.
Ah, yes.
If we know anything
Noelle.
from the Noelle situation, I was gonna say. If we saw anything from the Noelle situation. Damn.
Anyways.
We're gonna murder him, probably. He always had something interesting to talk about, and kept conversations casual. In fact, he seemed more like an older student than a teacher, but she unfortunately didn't share her fellow students' fondness of him.
Yikes.
She was of the opinion that teachers should come across as more austere. Austere?
Austere?
Austere? Something. Like an iron fist that could inspire both love and hate in equal measures, not a buddy to joke and pal around with. He was the exact opposite of how she felt a teacher should be. It was only natural that her manner towards him would be forced and unfriendly.
She seems a lot, colder
Oh, probably.
than
Well,
she
first
is.
of all, she had trauma about learning that, life, once it's extinguished, cannot be returned. So that's probably a very traumatic experience for
That's
her.
fair.
She now lives in a
Tsukihime
mansion where it's only
momento.
her. She now
Point of
lives
death
in a
momento.
mansion where it's just her and her roommate or whatever, housemate. So there's only two humans in this giant ass mansion, so she probably doesn't even see that other person all that often.
Right.
So she has seclusion. She also lives atop a mountain, and it is scientifically known that depression comes on harder for people in colder surroundings. So like winter is a really heavy depression time for a lot of people because you don't get as much sunshine. So for her to, like she's like it was said, it hits the gloomy sky hits them first because they're on a hilltop, or they're up on the mountain. That all makes sense. So for her to just be like, "Hi, I don't like you," makes sense.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But I'm sure that through this entire story, she'll learn to warm her heart, and it'll be great. And then she'll turn into a mother figure to Shiki, well, a sensei figure.
For like,
technically,
a week.
for like a week, but he remembers her through all of his life and consistently goes back to her and whatever.
Right.
Because she's that cool.
Because life is all about those the pointless things that you do, so that when you reach the end of it, you can look back on those memories fondly.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the stupidest shit, like how we first met.
Of course. Anyways.
Which no one will know except for us. and
Our immediate
few
friend group.
people that our immediate friend group to whom I've small little information. Fine. Technically, that wasn't even the first time we met. The first time we met, we talked about dinosaurs and dragons. That was the second time.
Of course.
Anyways, not that she'd ever been weird to make. Wait, not wired. Fucking. I don't know how to read. Not that she'd been ever been wired to make friendly small talk.
You're in a foul mood today.
Today? I'm like this every day. The matter-of-fact answer perfectly matched the displeasure displayed on her face. Her bad mood for having to get up early and the tiredness from staying up late must have collectively made her look positively adversal.
Well, if you say so. Just go easy on our guest, okay? To be honest, we're not completely sure how to deal with him yet.
Why? About that, do you want to tell me what the hell is going on? Because I have no clue. As Mr. Yamashiro met her piercing eyes, he finally understood the reason behind her tone and slowly put out his cigarette. Also, are we never gonna... Oh, he's one of those characters that when we get to see his eyeballs, some shit's gonna go down.
Oh god. No. No. Not Weissman. No, not again. Not again. I can't do this again.
Oh my god. Well, you're gonna have to. You got this game.
Fine, I guess. I spent hours trying to get it to work on my totally legit hardware.
Exactly. I was there when you finally got it to work. You basically sprouted tears of joy.
Anyways. Let's start at the beginning. What did they tell you over the phone?
Absolutely buttfuck nothing.
Yeah, no, apparently not, yeah.
Just that I'd be introduced to a transfer student. They were a little late. They were a little hazy on the rest, though. One of Mr. Yamashiro's eyebrows stood up, impressed with the brevity of her answer.
Just like the rock meme.
Oh my god. He could see that she was angry, not because she had been called to school on her day off, but because she hadn't been told why she was here. Mr. Yamashiro chuckled sympathetically. If this was all a joke to you, perhaps I should just go home.
Wait. I didn't mean to laugh. This is not a practical joke. We could really use your help.
So there really is a transfer student?
Yes, but he has... how should I put it? Difficult circumstances. His name is Sojiro, and he's a bit, well, peculiar. So we thought someone around the same age would be best suited to show him the ropes.
She threw him an unamused look.
Hey, fair enough.
It was negligent of them to be pushing teaching duties onto her, but she did wonder how exactly this transfer student was peculiar. Perhaps he had a third eye, a fourth arm, 17 toes.
Maybe he saw weird lines on everything in the world.
Maybe he had another him living inside of his brain that originally was a demon slayer from 50 million years ago. Who can say? Maybe he meant the student had behavioral problems or was difficult somehow.
Maybe he wanted to be maybe he wanted to become a hero of justice when he grew up.
Maybe he wanted to become a hero of justice, but only because he was in an excruciating blast from the past a couple of years ago. And now he's just trying to deal with all of the trauma by learning how to trace on some swords. But peculiar. She didn't have the slightest idea what that meant. I love how I'm slowly turning into, like, a fucking, like, it's, like, slowly turning into, like, almost a British accent. You don't hear a teacher call someone that every day. She had her doubts, but swept them aside for now. This wasn't the time to get distracted by more concerns. The fact remained that this conversation was all the peculiar she could handle, and she needed more information. She was already beginning to fantasize about saying no and curling up in her warm bed at home. I feel that.
Yep, for sure.
I have a question.
Yes? And he's a second-year student, like you. He's well-behaved and a good listener. He's not the most energetic individual, but that means he'll be easier to get along with, right? He's not in the same homeroom class as you, but I'm sure you'll get along just...
Can you imagine it's Akihiko's dad, or Arihiko's dad? I'll be the judge of that when I actually meet him. And none of that answered my question. Why me? Though her tone was still stern, it was clear that she was willing to cooperate. She decided to put her feelings of dissatisfaction aside and focus on the task at hand. Forcing herself to act empathetic in spite of her self-absorbed nature was something she was used to. Paradoxically, this force of will was also the reason teachers put so much faith in her. To a point. At times, that strength shattered exponentially, and on those occasions they were left with no choice but to treat it like a natural disaster and weather it until it passed. That was how Mr. Yamashiro had come to deal with her as over the past year. I'll ask you one more time, Mr. Yamashiro. Why does it have to be me? Pressured by a question without a clear yes or no answer, he answered.
Well, about that. You're probably thinking it's because you're the iron-fisted ruler of the student council and are willing to strike down both teacher and student for the good of the school, but you'd be wrong.
I can't imagine any other reason you'd call me. So she's part of the student council.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And apparently, iron-fisted ruler could imply that she's president, but...
I don't think she'd be president. She probably would be like the corrections officer of the student council.
Fair enough.
You know those people in like the animes that walk around and are like, "Hey, your skirt's too like up your waist. You have to like it needs to be 2 inches lower or whatever."
Get to
Like
class.
those people.
You don't have a hall pass.
Where's your fucking hall pass, bitch? And instead of like being like, "You need to get a hall pass now," she just throws him out a window. You know, normal stuff.
Yes.
Her eyes did nothing to hide her disbelief as she glared at him. Strength far beyond that of an ordinary 17-year-old girl, coupled with that youthful beauty of one. Mr. Yamashiro let slip a genuine smile, admiring the miraculous balance of qualities. Stop it. Don't do that, Yamashiro. Don't do it.
I mean, I'd handle this myself if it was just about pure obligation. But who gets this job has nothing to do with whether they're a teacher or on the student council. I just felt that you were the only one who would entertain this kind of a request without needing to weigh all the sides. That's why I insisted it be you.
In other words, he knew she wouldn't say no. I understand people like that.
That's freaking hilarious.
I'm one of those people. It's really hard for me to say no to people.
You know what? I feel that.
I hate
That's a mood,
I
but
hate
also
it.
like, ouch.
You know.
Oh, well, I guess.
It's like, oh, I know you won't say no, so deal with it. I'm like, you too. That's how I ended up with the creepy doll table. Mr. Yamashiro.
Oh, dear. Would you stop glaring at me like that already? At least put on a smile for your your new schoolmate. Look, if you're agreeing to help, we should go see him. We've already kept him waiting long enough as it is.
I thought you said go steal him
Steal
for a second. Let's go steal him. You know, it's fine.
And because you braved the rain to get here, I'd be happy to give you a ride home.
Nope. I would rather walk back.
Fair enough.
I do not trust him. He has closed eyes, and because I thought it was just him being like, you know, having the smile, and in anime they smile and they close their eyes. I do that because, well, I mean, fun fact, I have very fat cheeks, and so when I smile, my eyes disappear. So it just always looks like when I smile, it looks like I have no eyes. So I thought they were doing that, and then he changed his expression, and his eyes didn't open. And I don't trust it. I don't trust characters who do not have eyeballs.
What, do you think he's gonna be like, Sojiro, and then in Fate's Day Night?
Something's gonna happen, and he's gonna open his eyes, and then he's gonna whip out a knife. Like, he's gonna be like, ah, you found me out, and open his eyes, and they're like gonna be like fucking galaxy purple. And he's gonna be like, or they're gonna be like bright yellow, and he's like, I have eyes of fucking life perception. Like Roa does. Or something.
Surprise! It is I, the wielder of the first magic.
Oh my god. Surprise, I'm actually a vampire magician.
Hello, it is me.
God.
The friggin' like 20th incarnation of Michael Rule of Eldam Shaw.
Oh my god. No. Surprise, it is I. The original owner of 7-Eleven. Before that one bitch took it over, I fled. Something. I don't know. I just don't trust him. And the fact that he's like, I'm your teacher, but I'm super cool and I'll take you home in my car. No.
I'll walk. I've got an umbrella.
No, I brought an umbrella. I'm fine. The only time I, as a human, got into a teacher's car was because that teacher was the aunt of one of my friends.
See.
And they also were in the car.
Ah.
Like, that is the only time I've ever gotten into a teacher's car. I do not trust going into a teacher's car.
Entirely fair, to be honest.
Also, I don't like people, so... Mr. Yamashiro stood up gracefully. He's a fucking prima ballerina or some shit. I'm good, thanks, she replied, before turning and walking out of the faculty room.
As she should.
Her hair, like, flips around elegantly.
Good.
He had been waiting for about an hour. While he did, the rain shower lightened into a drizzle. His mind wandered as he listened to the sound of the raindrops. The room was filled with neatly arranged rectangular tables. He was the only one there. Quite some time had passed since he had been brought to this room and asked to wait. Even the best behaved students might have grown dissatisfied or anxious with the situation by now, but the boy stuck to his spot like a scarecrow. He was chilled to the bone. It was the end of November, and the low temperature in the morning had marked the start of winter. The room was not much warmer. The heat hadn't been turned on. Either he'd missed the teacher telling him to turn it on, or I'd never seen one in his life. He breathed lightly on his freezing fingers as he aimlessly surveyed his surroundings. This dreary place was apparently a meeting room. Also, I don't like the fact that there's no music going on.
It is just rain.
I don't like it.
Entirely fair.
It's very ominous.
Wonder what this
I
guy
don't
looks
quite
like.
get this guy is gonna be like, he's gonna be discount Shiki. You watch, he's gonna have fucking glasses.
Discount Shiki, discount Shiro. One of those two.
That's what we're working with. That's what we're working with. He might be a discount archer if he's really tall. Who knows? The other students might have considered it a wonderful place to meet, but to him it was a drab and overly spacious. It was a lifeless place that reminded him of an arid cave. Stuck in this cold room with absolutely nothing to do, his mind turned to what they wanted to discuss. Unable to come up with a solid answer, he returned his attention to the sound of the rain. The rain hardly resembled the rain in the mountains, though he could still recognize it, barely. Its smell and sound were harsher, but at the end of the day, rain was still rain. So even this world, alien as it was, could have something in common with the mountains. That trivial detail perked him up a little. Oh, so he's a mountain boy.
Mountain boy.
Alright, mountain boy. He liked how the town looked soaked in rain. Naturally, he preferred sunny weather, but he liked rain in its own way. The fog from the rain had soaked up the scent of the soil, and it reminded him of home. It was at times like these that he was able to numb the anxiety the city gave him. I can understand that. But then he let out a discouraged sigh. How pathetic. He'd already been here 2 weeks, and thoughts of his hometown still made him sad. Perhaps feeling that he was being unfair to his new life, he composed himself and continued to wait patiently. As if having a passion for distractions, his attention returned to the sound of the rain once more. Waiting like this didn't seem to be particularly hard for him. He quietly endured the numbing cold, and the hour alone, with calm, deep breaths. Can he talk?
Please say something with your mouth instead of just noises.
Well, no, because if you look at the window, he has bandages on his throat.
Oh, crud. I thought that was just a shirt. Okay.
No, those are bandages.
Oh.
I don't think he's gonna talk.
Oh, man. Okay.
Or that or something is like healing. If this is gonna be like a... Oh, I forgot. I think his name is Jericho? Is that what his name is? So, fun comic book lore time with B. So, Slade, Deathstroke, had a son at one point. I believe his name was Jericho or something like that. He got mad at him, sliced his throat, and he can't talk anymore. So if we're gonna have like that moment, that's cool and all. But can his throat heal so that way Keith can talk with me? 'Cause that'd be great. Because I would think it would be kind of sad if all Keith could do was just make noises. Just make herms.
Huh.
Just You turn into a fucking Minecraft villager.
Yes. Huh.
That's it. That's what he sounds like. He's a Minecraft villager.
God, no.
As the saying goes, Keith,
Good things come to those who wait.
a strong point of his, or not, he was astonishingly patient. It was certainly helping him out in this moment.
Hey, is that a vampire? Is that a vampire in the courtyard?
Ugh, I must be hallucinating. There's Arcoide. That's not a hallucination. What is she doing in the courtyard? Ugh. She, on the other hand, was livid. The profile of the transfer student had been explained to her on her way to the meeting room. She was told he had lived his whole life up in the mountains without any electricity. What?
What's a Game Boy?
Oh my god.
You said something about Pokemon?
What? Is it like a card game? Do you poke a man? Is that like with a stick? like a ball and
Why
wheel?
are there so many of them?
Why do they come in different colors? Why? Hey, I just opened up the game and this Mudkip is purple. What? You said he was blue. Why is he purple? He's blue on the box. What did I do? Did I break it?
Yeah, just
I'm sorry I broke your
yeah,
Game
just
Boy.
reset it. It'll be fine.
That happened. I read that where someone
I did.
They opened up. Were you the one who sent it
I
to
think
me?
I remember reading it at some point. It was a Tumblr post or something.
Something like that, where they were just like, my Mudkip was purple and then I reset it and everything was fine. But like, that was weird. Has that happened to anyone else? And I was like, that was a shiny Mudkip, you asshole. I don't go shiny hunting. That's not my thing. But that hurt my
Yeah,
heart.
me too.
Ugh.
Anyway.
Anyways. That meant more than half of civilized society would have been an utter mystery to him. What a miserable level of isolation. How is this even possible in post-war Japan? He's like Robinson Crusoe.
Like, from Castaway?
I think so.
Gotcha.
Castaways. We are castaways.
Oh my god.
There, ahoy. We are castaways. She had every right to be angry. We still haven't seen her face.
Oh.
His village had apparently remained isolated in the mountains for many years. He was Amish.
Oh
Nothing
my god.
against Amish people, but basically he was Amish.
He was Amish.
Contact with villages in the foothills of the mountains only occurred once a month or so, which was unfathomable in modern Japan. Although expressways and Japan Rail, the old nation railways, now spanned the country like arteries. Arteries? Oh, arteries. I thought it was the for a minute I thought it was the word for the water ducks that Rome had.
Oh.
What are those called? I thought it started with an A. I might be crazy. But you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. I thought that was where my brain went. Anyways, arteries. It wasn't entirely impossible for mountain villages like his to exist. It was just nearly unheard of. I mean, what kind of bitch doesn't like Game Boys and electricity and heating in the winter? But she couldn't imagine how someone born to such circumstances would think or live. What was she supposed to do? And let him enter her home? When you say no electricity, you mean in general, right? Like, he must have had access to a public phone.
Apparently not. He mentioned how shocked he was by the phones when he started living here. I kid you not, he said, "Wow, telephones are so useful." Couldn't really deny that, could I?
She shot a sidelong glare his way as he laughed. It seemed that the naivete of this country boy had cheered up Mr. Yamashiro a
Oh
bit.
my god, wait, can I give him a country accent? Oh my god, how the tables have
You
turned.
can take. Yes, the tables have turned. You get to be my southern
Oh my
boyfriend
god,
now.
how the tables have turned. That's absolutely hilarious.
I love this. I'm gonna give her more of your Shiki voice then. how I would imitate your Shiki voice. That's what I'm gonna do.
Oh my god.
That's how the tables have
That's
turned.
hilarious.
They probably didn't have police officers either. My family home is up in the mountains, so it's not inconceivable that they wouldn't have electricity. But he doesn't even know what school is?
どんなものかは知っていたそうだけど、実際来るのは今日が初めてらしい。それで緊張していたのかな。あまり会話も弾まなかった。
Oh, right, this is me.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, is he waiting for the voice to stop?
Fair enough. Nope, he's heard of them, but this is apparently his first time visiting one. Maybe that's why he's nervous. He wasn't very talkative. He's almost, what would you call it? Feral? Like a boy raised by wolves. I suppose that makes us Lewis and Clark.
Is that rude? I feel like that's
That's a
rude.
little rude, yeah.
That's a little
It's a
rude.
little
I feel like
rude.
that's a little. Just be like, ah, yes, look at this primitive boy that we must take care of now.
Oh, straight up called him feral.
Yeah, like, and he doesn't seem feral. He seems very gentle, like a little baby.
Come on.
He's a little baby.
怖いな、青崎くん。冗談だって。そう睨まないでくれ。
Now you can't take it back.
He's also. Stand for your actions.
Hey, you're scaring me, Ozaki. I was joking. Go easy, okay?
Also, I would never want to be a Lewis or a Clark to you.
Don't worry. I got the feeling that talking to him, that he's a nice kid. He was almost like, I don't know, a cute little animal that doesn't speak human.
That seems worse than what you said last time. Your jokes and metaphors aren't helping. As she gave her blunt reply, she tried to simulate in her mind what life without electricity would be like, but the thought of it took her sour mood from bad to worse. After all, it was a world she had never known. She could understand why the teachers had given up. She, too, wanted to give up and return to her warm bed, but her good-for-nothing pride was holding her hostage. Not only did the teachers believe she was up to the task, but she also believed she could do it. It wasn't that easy to go back on her word, no matter how bad things looked after the fact. She walked along the hallway, the rain pattering in the background. The meeting room was already in sight. With a furrowed brow, she fixed her long hair in anticipating of meeting the unknown stranger within. Her elegant strides were like those of a confident general going into battle.
いや、青崎くん、
Aozaki,
君を信頼して
I believe in you and all, but I'll say it again. Be nice, okay? Can you at least try to smile?
笑顔とか作れないかな。
I'm bad at faking smiles, but I'll do my best.
あ、そうだ。
Really?
それはよかった。
That's a relief.
いや
I really mean it. It's good to know that you're not good at
ー、
everything.
やったんだね。
But I am good at everything.
Mr. Yamashiro's shoulders slumped the second they reached the meeting room. As he put his hand on the door, his eyes seemed to say to her,
Be nice, please.
This only made her more irritated. What, you don't think I'm fucking nice? I already know that I'm not the friendliest looking person in the world, but I can't just make myself smile at the drop of a hat. Look, resting bitch face is an actual thing, you dipshit. You should have asked Tobimaru if that's what you were after. She sighed about her social shortcomings, but then it occurred to her that being called into school on a day off while sleep deprived wasn't anything to smile about anyways.
Fair enough.
She also thought the person responsible for this mess would be better off attending elementary school.
Oh my god. Dang, alright.
It might not be his fault, but neither was it her duty or obligation to do the teacher's work for them. At the very least, they could have used their brains and organized all this on a normal school day. Another complaint she wanted to voice later. I hate him already. He's my sworn enemy, and I haven't even met him. Sorry, but I couldn't care less about his
Extenuating?
That's what I thought, okay.
I think.
Extenuating circumstances. You think this isn't awkward for me too? Honestly, why did this have to happen while I'm so busy? Her pounding headache from a lack of sleep had boosted her aggression by 10%. Now we're up to 92. No matter how harmless this guy on the other side of the door may be, anyone who disturbed her sleep was the enemy.
Mood, I guess.
That's me all the time. And just as she was reaching the peak of annoyance, Mr. Yamashiro opened the door to the meeting room. The room slowly slid into view. She didn't care for formalities, just looked straight ahead and stormed into the room, and found herself face to face with a most unusual opponent. Before we go on, let's see from another perspective.
Oh, okay.
Turning back the clock just a little. So this is aggressively in third person. Understood.
Okay.
I don't know who's saying this, but I'll just make up a voice. You don't have to do anything. For some, these words are a priceless luxury. For others, they are unbearable torture. For the proactive girl, it was definitely the former, though she'd been too suspicious of the motives of anyone giving her such a gift to accept it. For the passive boy, it was definitely the latter, a bitter thorn that made him homesick, though at this very moment his mind was still distracted with the wait for his face to reveal any discontent. He maintained perfect posture as he stared at the gray sky. He had already waited a whole hour, but figured they must have had their reasons for making him wait. And also, and as long as he had the sound of the rain to soothe him, he could keep on waiting. What a good boy.
Oh, he does have a voice. All right.
But this is inside of his head.
Fair enough. It must be 9 o'clock already. Yeah, that seems about right.
Country kid! Oh, this is gonna be so much fun. Gonna be fun on a butt.
Oh my god.
He had been vaguely keeping track of the time as he listened to the rain. Due to the holiday, the school building was completely silent. It's fine. I was yawning again. It's all good. Except for the patter of the rain on the window. The mood felt as damp as the rain. It was then he heard the heavy clatter of footsteps approaching.
I feel a threatening aura coming in hot.
As usual. I love how the boy is still the one who feels threatened by the female, even though now you're the southern one.
Yes. Hilarious.
Finally. I thought they'd forgotten about me.
He could hear two sets of footsteps, one heavier set belonging to an adult.
Are you sure about that?
Given how they both seem to treat each other, it seems like hers would be the heavier footsteps.
Yes.
He breathed a sigh of relief as the door slid open.
So sorry to keep you waiting.
The first person he saw was a man wearing glasses and an awkward smile. That's Mr. Yamashiro, the one who brought me here.
Where's Mr. Satonaka? I told him to keep you company. He shouldn't have left you here.
Mr. Yamashiro scratches his head, looking increasingly apologetic. And then, from behind him, with a tight-lipped expression that made it clear she didn't want to be there, a dark-haired girl with a determined look in her eyes appeared. Love at first sight.
Oh.
Oh, look at him. He's got such a cute little face.
Oh my god. Oh my god, he's adorable.
He's a little baby. I love him. I'd murder for him.
Sojiro?
I think that's what it is. Sojiro gulped. The sound of the rain on the window faded into nothingness. That's when he knew. This was how it felt when time stood still. He's in love.
Something tells me that I want to cut her up into 17 pieces.
No, Sojiro. No, my baby. If anything, she's gonna be the one to cut you up into 17 pieces, my guy. With how upset she is about the fact that you took away some of her precious sleepy time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Now we get to fully see her face. That's good. She blinked quickly a few times, as if taken aback.
Well, hi there.
Why was anyone's guess? The boy was everything she expected a naive country boy to look like. However, she felt something she couldn't understand. Perhaps heart palpitations. The need to go to the hospital. His eyes widened slightly, as if taken aback. The reason was obvious. Putting his feelings into words was a different matter altogether, so we'll never know exactly what he experienced in that moment. Fuck you.
Damn, alright, my bad.
That's when it hit him. He sensed he'd been touched by the hands of destiny. and they felt gross.
紹介するよ
Touched by the hands of destiny. In other words,
宗次郎君
fate. Allow me to introduce the two of you. This is the transfer student I mentioned, Sojiro Shizuki.
でこっちの
And this is the girl that will be showing you around.
うちの生徒会長で
She's our student council president and came in on her day off just to welcome you.
青崎
Her name is Aoko Aozaki.
So she is the president.
Yes, and confirmed, this is Aoko.
Is it pronounced Aoko or Oko?
I think it's Aoko. I believe.
Ooh. Listen, I don't know how names work. Did you know that there's a name called Absidy?
Absidy?
Absidy is spelled A-B-C-D-E. Absidy.
Gotta be kidding me. Okay.
Nope. Nope. I am not. It's the first, like, what is it, 5 letters of the alphabet? A, B, C, D, E. Yep. First 5 letters of the alphabet. Absidy. I'm surprised Fate hasn't that Type Moon hasn't taken that name yet.
Fair enough.
Maybe I shouldn't give them any ideas. But yeah, no, names are
Do
hard.
it. Make a master OC. Easy.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make Absidy. She's gonna be a Fate master, and she's gonna run around with fucking Shiro Emiya. That's what I'll do for Shiro Day. I'll make Absidy. That's what I'll do. Anyways. His voice and the sound of the rain seemed distant. This is how they first met. Such was their start, for better or worse. Like the ephemeral? Ephemeral, I know how English works. Like the ephemeral beauty of fireworks. Short, fleeting, explosive, and colorful. It was commonly believed among the students that Aoko was always in a foul mood. But this gossip was 90% prejudice, as Aoko simply didn't have time to be irritated 24/7. The reality was she simply didn't want to explain herself all the time, and therefore seemed angry about something, obvious or not. This idle gossip did, however, lead her to earning the title of the one school's 7 deadly threats.
7 deadly threats?
The remaining 10% of the gossip was right on the mark. Aoko herself often had the feeling that her tendency to feel animosity towards harmless things was akin to what a chronic headache sufferer might experience. Today fell under that 10%. For today, her anger was pure, and her childish and selfish display was befitting of her actual age.
17, huh? Just like Shiki.
Yep. The meeting room was dimly lit, awash in the colors of the rain. To reduce the electricity cost, the school's regulation forbid the use of lights during the day.
Are you sure?
I don't think that's how that works.
Okay, whatever, I guess.
Also, why would they only use lights at night? Are there night classes?
I don't know. Weird.
This was the setting the 3 of them found themselves in. A dark room, ominous and large and weird. Her first impression was that his calm demeanor reminded her of a field of wildflowers. Oh, that's cute. In spite of his perfect posture, he seemed subdued and frail, like she could snap him like a twig.
Oh, don't do that.
But she might. Not that she would think about it. Except for right now, she's totally thinking about it. You should be terrified. And though describing him as meek would be going too far, at the very least, he was passive.
Emanates slight teenage Shiki vibes. Or Kishi vibes.
He is Kishi. Oh my god, he is Kishi. Look at him. He's a little baby. Little baby. All of them are little babies and I love them. Even through his uniform, she could see that he was thinner than average.
Yeah, teenage Kishi vibes.
He's just a little baby. Ah! His dark hair was unkempt, and he came across a wholly forgotten boy. If she had to look at him in a more positive light, she would describe him as more a young man than a boy. But that's the only compliment he'll be getting. It was his calm demeanor that made him seem more mature. Was that the cause of Aoko's reasonless reaction? He seemed almost too at home in the meeting room, and she was left with the impression that it was her and the teacher, not this outsider, who were the guests here. Well, you have left him here for an hour. She felt an undefinable aggravation building within her, almost as if her right to be here was in question. Aoko felt herself raising her natural defenses. What's with me? Am I really this angry for no reason? She hated not understanding things, her own emotions in particular. It painted her less than you would imagine for a perfectionist like herself, but it still nagged her like a thorn in her side.
Alzaki, why don't you introduce yourself?
Mr. Yamashiro attempted to relieve the tension with equal irritation. Was equally
I
irritated.
love her expression. Oh my god.
Just shut up. Just shut up and go away. Just shut up and go away. Nobody wants you here. Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. Introduce myself, huh? After casting a nasty glance in the teacher's direction, Aoko turned to face the boy. From an outsider's perspective, it might have looked like a stare down.
Did I do something?
Did I do that?
Did I do something wrong? Sorry.
You didn't do anything. You're currently just existing, and I don't quite know how to feel about it.
Okay.
In that instant,
Culmination. There.
Yeah. The culmination of her emotional state hurtled toward the innocent boy and skewered him.
Ouch.
Oh, poor baby. He's just a little baby. Hi, baby.
Again, sorry for the wait, Suzuki.
Hearing his name, Sojiro came to his senses. His stunned gaze shook loose. He took a deep breath to clear his head. Chalking it up to nerves, Mr. Yamashiro broke out a smile and turned to the girl standing beside him.
I'll do the introductions then. This is the transfer student, Sojiro Suzuki. And this is our student council president, who came in on her day off just to show you around.
Her name is Aoko Aozaki.
の案内役を買って出てくれた青崎青子くんだ。
She has a whiteboard.
Oh my god, she has a whiteboard!
There, it's happening. It's happening. Having been introduced by Mr. Yamashiro, the girl took a step forward. Her eyes were merciless. Her stare an unspoken threat to violently trample her opponent. Sojiro, on the other hand, managed to keep his own composure despite the shock at how confrontational she appeared. He had never been greeted quite like this before, but supposed mistakenly that this was how people treated each other in the city. The exchange must have looked quite dramatic to an onlooker. A girl ready to brawl. An earnest country boy desperate to understand. It was a murderous limbo, especially for anyone in the room with them. Like that one bitch over there. Like Mr. Yamashiro, for example. Well, he had thought he had made the right decision in choosing an honor student to help him out. She was in inexplicably bad mood, and the tension in the air was undeniable.
Maybe you should have
Because you
chosen.
you woke her up.
Maybe you should have chosen, you know, a different honor student. Just a thought.
Or extra thought, done this later in the day?
True.
Or even other thought,
On a school day?
do it on a school day, an actual school day. Have her come in on an actual school day when she knew that she was going to have to get up early anyways.
Big sigh.
Just there's a lot of things. Also, why is she red?
Good question.
It was this moment that he realized he fucked up.
Well, I fucked up.
His realization had come far too late. The poor son of a bitch.
Oops.
One false move, and this girl, from whom no problem was too large, would becoming a storm that would rock the very foundations of the school. Just as the almighty Joker card could bring either fortune or disaster, the sole teacher who had been present at the time would come to bear the blame for the scandal that ensued. I mean, he'd have to help hide the body.
Wow, you two seem to have hit it off. I suppose I can leave you two to it then.
That's not how this works, Yamashiro.
Yeah.
Mr. Yamashiro laughed nervously as he crept towards the door.
僕は職員室にいるから。
I'll be in the faculty room. Stop by when you're finished.
いいかい青崎くん。
You'll be alright, won't you, Aozaki?
なんていうか、
You're the student council president. Don't let me down.
僕に信じさせてほしいかな。
I'll let you down wherever the fuck I please.
That's my cue to leave.
Mr. Yamashiro left, leaving the two in a locked-eyed state. One in which one set of eyes was doing all the glaring. All that remained in the room was a naive boy and a cross-armed, guarded girl. The two lingered in silence. They resembled shogi players, agonizing over their first moves, though ultimately it was only Aoko that had considered the scene that carefully. She decided to put her irritation aside for the time being. With no reason to feel revulsion for him in the first place, she sighed deeply and faced Sojiro. Whatever. It's not like this is the first time that Mr. Yamashiro landed me in the... So, what's your name again? Her tone was nothing, if not reproachful, though he had done nothing to offer her. Offend her. Fuck, I know how to read. But the boy failed to pick up on it. Incapable of such venom himself.
Sojiro Suzuki.
He replied.
And you're Miss Aozaki, right?
For whatever reason, he came across as happy in his response.
Nice to meet you.
I love how the face in the background is like so neutral. This just reminds me of that fucking moon meme with the two astronauts.
Trust no one, not even yourself.
Yeah, just oh my god. I already read that, didn't I? Oh my god. Drop the miss. That's not my style.
Sorry, miss.
If you open your mouth and you say ma'am, I'm taking your tongue.
What?
Exactly. Anyways. Is Suzuki fine?
Oh, what do you mean?
What do you mean, what do I mean? Hello? Did I say something weird?
Yeah, very...
The boy replied immediately, as if it was a natural response, but quickly second-guessed himself.
Never mind. That must be normal here. You can call me Suzuki. You mind if I call you Aozaki?
Suit yourself. She followed her blunt reply with a swift turn away from him. While she was hardly thrilled at the prospect of the task at hand, it had been entrusted to her, and it was her personal policy to see it through to the end. Sorry, but I'm not in the mood for pleasantries. Time is short, so let's get this over with.
Sure. I know your time is valuable.
Aoko's blunt...
Rancor?
Rancor? Yeah. Aoko's blunt rancor was lost on him once again. The poor dear. Oh, so she's kind of a tsundere. We're learning. I love that. Humans tend to be overly conscious about being ignored, whatever form that takes. But despite being peeved at landing none of her attacks, Aoko did her best to act professional and directed her guest into the hallway. There was no sunlight in the hallway, nor any sign of life. This was more like a prison than the cave that was the meeting room. As it dawned on Aoko that the hallway matched her mood, she sighed once again. First things first, did you understand everything Mr. Yamashiro explained to you?
Yes, I get how school works. But it's still a bit hard to imagine that everyone here is around the same age.
I see. Great. Aoko rubbed her forehead. This Sojiro kid had no idea what he was in for. Poor dear. Apparently all he'd heard about school was that it was a place where a lot of people are meant to study.
What's a GPA?
Oh my god, we're gonna have to start from the ground up. Listen. GPA, I don't even know what it stands for, is a magic number that you get from getting good letter grades. A is the best and F is the worst. There is no E. I don't know why. You want to get at least a C or C plus or higher to get a good GPA to pass the school.
Oh yeah? What's your GPA?
Yes. 4.2. 4.0 technically is the highest you can go, but I am an overachiever.
Oh. Well, good job.
She
Well,
she just fucking turns around, just
You thought, oh, well, good job there.
I know. High school teachers impart to students their knowledge in various fields of study while fostering discipline and creativity. But never did Aoko imagine that she would have to explain the concept of school itself to someone. Yes, fundamentals were important, but this was absurd. She had serious doubts whether he could even handle classes, but Mr. Yamashiro insisted that things would work out somehow. Sojiro had managed to pass the transfer exam after all, if not barely.
What the heck is an algebra?
Oh, we're gonna really have to start from the fundamentals. Mr. Yamashiro, I'm going to kill you. Her hair's...
Since I've
That's when
done
her hair starts
something
turning red.
wrong,
Technically, you have done nothing wrong. But also... Shh.
okay.
Just no talking. Just no talking.
Mm-hmm.
None of it. You just stand there and you exist. Not my problem. Aoko grumbled mentally as she walked down the hallway. She consoled herself with the fact that today would be the only day she'd spend with this boy out of time. Or at least, she'd try to keep it that way. You know that he's gonna come over to her room and be like, hey, what's this?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
What the heck is a mega craft?
Oh
He pronounces all G's with a hard R, with a hard G.
Yeah, Megcraft. Oh my god.
Aozaki?
Algebra.
Algebra, yes. Aozaki?
He asked, calmly trying to get her attention. What?
Can I ask you something?
You just said. Yes, what is it?
I could be wrong about this, but you seem upset about something. You're not a morning person, are you?
Depends on what you mean. Technically I am, because I stayed up until 5 in the morning and then had to wake up at 8.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's fine.
Well, obviously it ain't.
Sarcasm. His gaze revealed earnest concern, as if asking her if she'd remembered to eat breakfast.
Well, did you
So
remember
he
to
is a
eat
good
breakfast?
boy. He's such a good boy. He's such a good boy. I love him. I love him so much. No, I didn't eat breakfast. I had to walk a long way to get here.
It's not
so
good.
I missed it. I can bring you fresh eggs from my farm. I love him. I love him so much. It was like another hammer to her head. That's a face. It was true that Aoko had been glaring at Sojiro.
Why are you doing a southern accent now?
It's infectious. It was true that Aoko had been glaring at Sojiro the entire time. Glaring red-hot daggers, in fact. Not just at him, but the universe. Even on her best days, her roommate used to remark, "Most people can't handle your scowl, Aoko. It wouldn't hurt you to be a little more tolerant." She'd been warned that her emotions were so naked on her face that people treated her like a powder keg. How naive could the boy be that he could not pick up on this? He's a little baby. He's not making fun of me, is he? No, he couldn't be.
I like her. She's cool.
He's so cute.
Maybe
He looks so concerned.
Maybe we can be friends.
Maybe we can play a Game Boy together. That's it. Even she found her own attempt to reassure herself unconvincing. It began to dawn on Aoko far too late. That compared to her, this laid-back transfer student might as well have been from another planet.
Oh, like the moon, perhaps?
The moon? I forget what male hime is. What's prince in Japanese?
Good question.
What's prince in Japanese? That's not helpful. That doesn't tell me how to say it. Hold on. Turn up the volume a little. That's hello? What the fuck? It just sounds like it's saying boing. Cause my fucking... Hold on, we'll get this. We'll get it, alright.
Mm-hmm.
What's Japanese for prince? Okay, what is it? Oji. So suke oji, I guess.
I suppose so, yeah.
I don't know. Listen, I'm going off of Google
Sure.
Translate. I'm sorry. Oji.
Let's go with that.
So he's an oji. He's a suke oji.
Yep. I guess so.
Look, let me spell it out for you, because you're not getting it. It's our true imagination. I am angry, and anyone could see that in my eyes. It's easier than trying to make conversation.
Well, could I do something to make you not angry?
You got some Rolos?
What's a Rolo?
Never mind. We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
In response to her words, the Martian clapped his hands together.
Ah, that makes sense. I don't know why you'd want to do it that way, but I get that it's a faster way to express yourself.
I'm going to kill him.
Oh.
Sojiro accepted her reasoning without argument. Though he still had no idea what kind of emotion she was trying to express. It was as if he could hear the words, but didn't grasp the meaning. Poor dear. Ideas that should have connected were instead separated into blocks. So it's true. He really is peculiar. Mr. Yamashiro's words made sense to her now. What was odd about this boy went way beyond naivete. A stranger in a strange land he may be, but it was only civilized to forget him. Nope, but it was only civilized to forget him some jet-lagged induced confusion. Let's visit your classroom. She had regained her composure. Sojiro raised his hand and stepped into his tracks. And stopped in his
Just
tracks.
one more thing.
Aoko waited for Sojiro to continue. The boy was patient to a fault. She rubbed her forehead with her hand again, nursing a vague feeling of uneasiness.
I want to ask, why are you so angry? Is it your line of business? Or does it run in your family?
A long silence.
I sense I've done something wrong.
I think we should pause at the a long silence, because it's 5:30
Oh,
in the morning.
fair. Oh,
I
okay,
think
that's
we
the
should
same button.
say-
Alright, good.
Yay,
Oh.
buttons! Ooh. Different.
Oh, that's a lot of save data.
Oh. Hey, what if we get to do like 3 days of content? Ooh. 3 days of hours.
Right?
Anyways. Say goodbye, Keith.
Alright. Later. Later, gamers.
We're gonna go buzz off now. Yippee! I'm gonna go pass out.
What a mood.
I don't know.